She was a ranch woman living near Eagle Creek on the Arizona plains in the spring of 1883. The ranch house in which she lived was made of adobe. There was a spring not far away from which she fetched water, and that is what she was doing one bright day. Men were off somewhere at the time. No, the men never heard her screams. The children who were still inside the ranch house did hear her screams. And terrified, they bolted the door. And when the men finally returned, they found the ranch woman not far from the spring dead, and not only dead, but mangled. They hurried to the house where the youngsters remained trembling. What happened, the men asked. One of the children started to cry. It was a red ghost, she said. A big, red ghost. Back at the grisly scene, one of the men was puzzled over the awesome wounds on the woman's body. They almost appeared to be hoof prints, but they could not be. The strange impressions were twice the size of a horse's hoof. And nearby something even more startling, long strands of hair, and not the dead woman's hair, but red hair. Red hair. A coroner was called from a neighboring town. He examined the body, was absolutely confounded. Death in an unknown manner, he declared, and he left. And thus, from these facts was born the legend, the several legends, in fact, of the Red Ghost. Later that same week, 2 prospectors were terrorized over on Chase Creek. They were sleeping in camp when the Red Ghost came and destroyed their tent. And close by, snarled on the chaparral, long strands of red hair. More true material on which 100 subsequent ghost stories ultimately were to be based. I mean, we have on one hand the verifiable history, and on the other hand we have the legends which grew out of that history. The made-up stories. The times that practical jokers would just frighten folks into believing that they had been visited by what everybody came to call the Red Ghost. But this is the rest of the story. One day the Red Ghost, the real Red Ghost, was sighted and shot. It turned out to be a camel, a red-haired camel, left over from the time that the Army had imported camels for trial military service, but this camel had developed a most unpleasant disposition, because a group of drunken miners many years previous had strapped a dead man to its back. I said a group of drunken miners years previous had strapped a dead man to its back. So it was not just a lone camel that killed the ranch woman and frightened the prospectors and sparked one of the strangest legends of the American Southwest. The truth was stranger than the fiction it spawned. For riding the Red Ghost was a human skeleton. And now you know the rest of the story.